Hello everyone, welcome to Daily Current Affairs series. Today we will discuss about 20th May Current Affairs. Myself Sunny Sandeep. Welcome to my channel Gear Up for Group 1 exam. Let us discuss the current affairs. The first one, Health Ministry issues new guidelines for workplaces. Here, India on Tuesday reported almost 5,680 new cases, taking a tally to the 1,06,425 cases, according to the data from the state health departments. Here, the number of active cases stood at 60,885, with while 42,224 people have recovered. With 158 deaths on Sunday and Tuesday, the death toll rose to 3,316. Here, if you see the daily peaks, from May 10th, almost 4,000 cases recorded. May 14th, almost 4,000 cases recorded. Yesterday, May 19th, almost 5,680 cases are recorded. Here, from this graph, we know that day by day cases are increasing. Our curve also is increasing rapidly. Here, while there was no need to close here some health ministry issues some new guidelines there. While there was no need to close the entire office building or halt work if one or two cases were detected. A large outbreak would require that the building be shut down for a 48 hours and disinfected. Here, this is the new guidelines given for the workplaces. If one or two are cases recorded in that place, no need to shut down. If more cases are required to shut down that workplace for 48 hours, or it should be disinfected. That's why in the relaxations of lockdown norms, health ministry issues new guidelines for the workplaces. Next one, Pakistan as both terror and perpetrator. Pakistan as both terror perpetrator and victim. What is the meaning of terror perpetrator and victim? We know that Pakistan is sponsoring the terrorism. At the same time, from terrorism, it is also victim of that terrorism also. Here, I have given two cases, that is, one is Lashkar-e-Toiba LET and Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan TTP. The first one, that is LET, the group involved in the latest terror encounter in the Handwara, is a classic example of loyalist. This LET is loyal to the Pakistan, loyalist terrorist organization that has played by the rules set by the Pakistani military. It only launches attacks on target outside Pakistan, primarily in India. As the evidence in the case of Mumbai carnage of 2008 clearly indicates, LET, that is Lashkar-e-Taiba operations are coordinated with the Inter-Services Intelligence, that is ISI, that provides it intelligence with the logistical support in addition to the identifying the specific targets. Here it is a good for the Pakistan, that is a good terrorist group, that is Lashkar-e-Taiba. Here another side, that is bad terrorist groups. At the other end of this good bad spectrum lies in the Tehreek-e-Taliban, that is TTP, which has ideological affinity with the Afghan Taliban. Here it is similar to the Afghan Taliban. The TTP and its affiliates have fought pitched battles with the Pakistan army in the federally administered tribal areas under the parts of NWFP, now Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. While both LET and Jaish-e-Mohammed have been engaged in the attacks on Indian targets identified by the Pakistan IAS, that is Inter-Services Intelligence, the latter has not hesitated to launch terrorist attacks on the targets within Pakistan as well as especially against the Shias and Sufi Shians. Here there is one placard by the Pakistan citizen, that is Stop Good and Bad Policy. Terrorists are always terrorists. Here we have to know that bad is always bad. That means if bad is coming from our destroy or something bad coming from these terrorist groups, we have to should ban these all terrorist groups. There is no difference between good and bad terrorists. Terrorists always are terrorists. Stop this good and bad policy. Next one. Here the changing nature of Chinese diplomacy. From the previous years, we know that is a style of diplomacy came to define Chinese foreign policy over the next half century. The strategy was consistent: avoid isolation, build solidarity with non-aligned countries, divide the West. The tactics were called United Front. Isolate the main threat by building unity with all other forces. It was the game that Joe would play with the consummate skill. Here, if you divide the world into two parts, that is eastern part and western part. Here in eastern part, there are two major countries are there. That is, in the population census or any military census or in any aspect, two major countries are there. Two big countries are there in eastern part, that is India and China. In western part, USA is there. There is a Jew style, that is divide the big one, that is a threat to that China. If we divide that China and USA, we can compete with that one. That is the style of Joe style. Here, build with the non-aligned countries. There are some countries with non-aligned, like India. They are not aligned to the China, or they are not aligned to Russia, and they are not aligned to the any major powers. They are consistent with their own rules, their own foreign affairs. Like that, their policy, China policy is with the give boost to that non-aligned countries. Here, that is known as United Front. If you see that Deng supplemented Joe's strategy with a 24 character strategy of his own. Here, that is observe calmly, secure our position, cope with affairs calmly, hide our capacities and bide our time, be good at maintaining low profile and never claim leadership. Here, if you see the observe the China's policy, foreign policy, it clearly defines like this one. Observe calmly, like it is observing USA and India, and secure our position. It is always China is securing their position. Cope up with affairs calmly in like trades, hide our capacities. Here, unlike North Korea, China won't expose their capacities. Bide our time, be good at maintaining low profile and never claim the leadership. Here, China is never claimed the leadership in Deng's diplomacy. Here, after some years, China's diplomacy is changing nature. Why? Because the Chinese style is impressive, but the Russians will fight you for every nickel and dime and elbow you at every level and lose $1 million of goodwill in the process. The Chinese have a sense of longer trends and focuses on that, not on parliamentship. The Chinese appear to have lost that style. If they cannot regain it, the ship of diplomacy could be dragged further afar from the shore on the receding tide. Here there is the Chinese appear to be latched that one, that is previous year's diplomacy. If they cannot regain it, the ship of diplomacy could be dragged further afar from the shore on the receding tide. Next one. Reform or face fund cuts, Trump tells to World Health Organization. Last month we have seen that there is a halting of fund that is to the World Health Organization said by US President Donald Trump. Here yesterday we have seen that there is a World Health Assembly, 73rd session of World Health Assembly held in Geneva. Here, as the World Health Assembly met virtually to discuss the COVID-19 pandemic, US Donald Trump told the World Health Organization that US will make permanent its funding cuts to the organization and consider leaving it by telling these words, it is threatening the World Organization if it did not commit to the major substantial reform within the next 30 days. Here we have to see the one situation aside these threats. Yesterday we have seen that there is a 73rd World Health Assembly. There are so many countries are giving assent to their investigation in the origin of virus. In that in that support, USA is not in that support, but it is threatening the World Health Organization. Apart from the political issues, we have to see that our exam perspective only. Here, the major share are the major funding comes from USA to the World Health Organization. Here, the major shareholder or major funding from this USA is the major funding to the World Health Organization. Next one, behind new incidents, a changed dynamic along India-China border. Here, if you see that there are border issues with China and India. Here with Chin and borders with some Uttarakhand and borders with Arunachal Pradesh, that is McMahon line. There is a dispute between India and China between the McMahon line. Here India is claiming that part and as well as China is also claiming that part. Here there are three instances are there. The first one is Chin and second one is border between Uttarakhand and another one McMahon line. Here India has upgraded its infrastructure, letting troops beef up a patrol in areas where China has established a more frequent presence. Here China is trying to occupy or enter into our line of actual control. Here last week we have seen that there is a flights are in the Sangpo lake, that is Brahmaputra river. Here troops from the both sides were involved in the fisticuffs that had led to injuries following standoff incidents on May 5 near the Pangzo lake in eastern Ladakh and on May 9 in Nakula in North Sikkim. If you see these two cases, that is Pangong So lake and Nakula in North Sikkim, these two incidents will define that behind a new incident changed a dynamic order. Here there is a border defense cooperation agreement between these two countries. They are shall not follow or tail patrols of the other side in areas where there is no common understanding of the LAC, that is the line of actual control. It called for the both sides to exercise minimum self-restraint, refrain from any proactive actions, not use force to threaten to use force against the other side in face-offs. Next one, a good year for the olive Ridley turtles. Here an olive Ridley settled in a Garimata beach, that is Odisha. Here if you see the IUCN status, that is International Union for Conservation of Nature. Here we have to see from the right side, that is least concerned, NT, that is vulnerable, VU, endangered, EN, critical endangered, CR, and EX, that is extinct. We have to see the status from the right side to the left side. Here for the olive Ridley turtles, IUCN status is vulnerable, VU. Here lack of human presence kept nests along the Odisha coast undisturbed. Here mass hatchings of olive Ridley turtle eggs has ended at the Rishkule rookery on the Odisha coast. Next one, I have promised to make a previous paper analysis, that is UPSC Prelims 2019. Among the agricultural commodities imported by India, which one of the following accounts for the highest imports in terms of the value in the last 5 years? Options are given here: spices, fresh fruits, pulses, vegetable oils. Here the right option is, and the right answer is vegetable oils. Vegetable oil is the agricultural commodities imported by India, which is the highest imports in terms of the last 5 years. With this we can conclude our video. Thanks for watching. Like, share and subscribe to my channel. Gear up for Group 1 exam.